All right, well, welcome everybody. We'll get our program started, and I want to welcome you to our November speaker series. Again, my name is Ray Comiskey, president here at the college, and we're always glad that you're here and for what I think will be a fairly informative and kind of a new look program at personal safety. So we're looking forward to it. Give you a little history about both our speaker and the way things have changed here at the college. About a year and a half ago, we started making the transition from a campus security force to a full-fledged police force. And to a casual observer, you might not notice a whole lot of difference. I mean, we put new decals on the cars and we got everybody good-looking uniforms, but really now all our officers on campus are what's called post-certified. They've gone to the academy, they've become they are truly legitimate police officers, and our officers now have the authority to detain, arrest, ticket, those kind of things. And we made that shift for a number of reasons, but personal and campus safety was a big part of it. You know, you don't have to look very far, unfortunately, in our history to see disasters and problems that occur with somebody going on some kind of rampage. And what we discovered in our research was that the quickest solution was to have an armed response. So I tell you all that to say that that really upped then the level of professionalism of the folks we brought in, and that made us attractive to our speaker today, who is a police supervisor for us here at the campus and also one of our graduates. So we call him Beau, and when I pronounce his last name or mispronounce his last name, you'll know why I call him Beau. But our speaker today is Beau Besancenez. See, I messed it up. Besancenez. Besancenez. Okay. Easy for him to say. Or as I'll call him, Beau, the whole rest of this presentation. He is currently our police supervisor for the college, and he's been in law enforcement for approximately 7 years. He started his career by serving in the U.S. Army for 8 years, and he was a combat medic for the Army and spent 2 years in Iraq with the 530th MP Battalion. While in the Army, he earned the rank of sergeant and was second in command of the medical section. After his military career, he completed the police academy at Jefferson College and became a reserve officer for the Peabody Police Department before being hired as a full-time officer in 2008 in the city of Herculaneum. Beau also served for a year on the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Emergency Response Team, or CERT. Today, he's here to talk to us about personal safety, personal choices, and in addition to offering some general safety tips, Beau will share ideas for staying safe during the holiday season. We can also expect him to update us on the latest scams and identity theft issues. I hope that means to prevent them, to be aware and avoid. Please welcome Beau.
Good afternoon. Well, my background with military and law enforcement, I'm probably going to say a lot of acronyms or things that you probably won't understand because I'm used to saying them in the military world and they make sense to me, they might not make sense to you. So if you need clarification, just please raise your hand and ask me and I'll try to clarify the best that I can. With my background, I spent 8 years in the military, 7 years in law enforcement, and I spent a year on the SWAT team of the Sheriff's Department. I tend to look at the world a little differently. That's my job. It's good and it's bad. Can never go anywhere and not say, oh, hey, I'm going to enjoy this time, because no, I'm always looking for what could happen, what might happen, an easy way out, and that's just, it's ingrained in my head. I've been trained like that my whole life. So I have a few points that I wanted to go over about my main topic, or my main point, I guess, in, let's say, shopper safety, personal safety, at-home safety, is what we call in the military and in law enforcement a hard target. A hard target is basically fortifying your position, or basically making yourself not an easy victim. Being a hard target is basically being vigilant of your surroundings. You keep an eye, like when I mentioned being a hard target, when we were overseas, our convoy had the least amount of attacks on our convoy. And that was, we didn't have any ID hits. We had the least amount of small arms fire against our convoy. That's because we were presenting ourselves to be more aggressive. We were being more vigilant to our surroundings. We were doing what we had to do. So the enemy said, well, we're not gonna deal with these guys. We're gonna wait till the next people come by that aren't paying attention. because it's easier for them to attack. It's the same way in everyday life. If you make yourself looking like you're not paying attention, and you're not looking around what's going on, thieves pick up on that. Thieves, that's their job. Their job is to pick out the weak people and do what they have to do, because that's how they make their living. It's not a good living, but that's how they make their living. That was their job choice. My job choice is to prevent that from happening, or from happening to you. So, I have being a hard target, like when I say, keeping an eye out for anyone following you, anyone who looks suspicious, and looking for ways out when you're in a store. If somebody sees you looking around, scanning the place, you're looking for what windows you can go out, what doors you can go out, and if you see somebody being suspicious and you make eye contact with that person, being up front, that always deters somebody, because they're going to be like, why is they see me. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be noticed. They're always going to be lurking in the back. They're going to be trying to blend in with the crowd. And I've actually done that. We've actually been out in a store and we've seen a pickpocket. My buddy picked it out. I didn't even catch it because I'm looking at whatever. We were in the store and he's seen this guy who's kind of walking around and brushing up against people. I didn't pick it out. He picked it out. He picked it out like that. And then once he told me about it, we started doing the same thing to him. We started walking by him and brushing up against him. And he would look at something and he'd look at us and we'd just sit there and look over his shoulder. And eventually he got the point and he left the store. So, and that was just, he realized he wasn't going to get anywhere that day. That was not his day to go in that store and rob somebody or pickpocket them. We actually seen him leave the parking lot once we left the store. So I think he was going to wait till we left, but we sat there and waited till he left. It's just one of those things you pick up on. I mean, like I said, we're in the business of picking up stuff like that, and I didn't catch it at first, but he did, because he was scanning the room when I wasn't. And that's kind of the next point, is a buddy system. When you travel in pairs are always a harder target to pick up on than traveling by yourself. You always had that person looking out for something that you missed. And in that scenario, he picked up somebody that I didn't even pay attention, because we were shopping. I'm looking at whatever I wanted to pick out, and he's still looking around me. And in our line of work, though, that's what we do. We run a SWAT team. Everybody's got your back. Everybody taps up. We do everything together. We do firearms training together. We do shoot shoulder to shoulder, and you get used to the person that's next to you. When you're on the SWAT team, my partner knows what I'm going to do before I know what I'm doing it. So if I'm going left, he's automatically going right. If I go right, he automatically goes left. And that's the same thing you got to look out for when you're out anywhere, and when you're traveling, when you're shopping, when you're at home and you see something that's out of place, you're going to be fixated on that. That's what we call tunnel vision. People get fixated on an object or a person, and that's all they see. Well, a lot of thieves are using that as a distractionary tactic. They're making somebody over here look suspicious, and so everybody's geared to that person. And then they got his buddy over here robbing everybody blind. And that's why you got to have, if you have a buddy system, and if you're trained and looking for that, or you're just, not even to be trained, just being vigilant, you always got to look for, you always have to think of what could happen and think of the worst. I know that's kind of bad to say, but they're thinking of ways to better themselves at being thieves and bad people, and that's what you got to think, got to kind of think on the same line as them. If I can do it, they're probably going to do it too. The next thing I have is have a plan, make a mental plan. Having a plan, a set ahead of time of what you're going to do. I don't like going to the malls, period. I don't like crowds. I don't like Walmart. So I know where the hunting department is. I know where the grocery department is. I go, all right, I know I can go right through this door. I can go straight to there, grab what I need, go to that department, grab what I need, go to the checkout, and I'm out. That's kind of what you'd have to do, especially with the malls. I can go, I know that store is up there. I know that store is down there. I know I can go in, out, I'm done. Of course, some malls, they change a lot, and I have to look at that map, and I'm sitting there staring at that map the whole time, trying to figure out where I need to go. Well, that gives somebody time to figure out, okay, they don't know where they're going. They could get lost. Now, they might not have an idea where they're going, which could single you out if you're by yourself, and that bad person or thief is going to see that. They're going to recognize that. So having a plan on where you're going to go, what you're going to do is always, it's always a good idea. Now, can you always do that? No, because sometimes I go, because I'm a hunter and I love guns, I'll go to the Cabela's and I'll just wander around the store, have no idea what I'm looking for just because that's what I like to look at. And people do see that. Obviously, you're going to have time, you're going to have situations like that, so you're not always going to be able to do that. I get caught up, I see something flashy, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go look at that. But if you have a plan on what you're going to do ahead of time, it's always easier to get in and get out and not have any issues. For women that have purses or men that have MRSs, always have those close to you. Have them next to you, zipped up, because purses and backpacks are the biggest thing. I recently had a trip in the Dominican, and they have a very high pickpocketing and theft, which is, we checked it before we left. It was up like 28%. Well, I had all my wallet, everything in my backpack. I took safety pins and my zippers closed. That way, if a pickpocket came by, there was gonna be harder for him to unzip my backpack without me knowing it. I'm gonna feel him tugging on it. And when I got into heavy populated areas, I would spin my backpack around on my front. That way I knew I had it secured. Backpacks, purses, satchels, anything that you have, those are the easiest things for people to steal. They're gonna steal your wallet out of it when you're not even noticing it. I've seen it, I got a video clip of it. People put their purses in their shopping cart. Shopping cart's here, they go here, come back, purse or wallet is gone. They're doing that now in gas stations. People will leave their purse in their passenger seat. They go to pump gas, their car's already unlocked. They're grabbing the passenger door. When the person goes at the front seat, they just realize that their purse is gone. There's also another distractionary tactic. If they're by themselves, they're distracting the driver. They'll wait for somebody to go to their car. They just unlock their car, they put their purse down in their seat. Then somebody comes up, do you have directions? Can you help me out where to go? While their accomplice is walking around, unlocking the door and stealing the purse or packages or whatever it is. That's coming around more often now, especially with the holiday season. They're gonna do that. They're gonna wait for you to put your bags in your car, whatever you bought, and somebody's gonna ask you a question. Have you seen my dog? Do you know where to get to the next store? While the other person's cleaning you out. They're basically gonna take everything they can. And it's gonna be small stuff. They're not gonna, if you've got a big box like a microwave or something, they're not taking that. They're taking your simple bags and they're something they can grab and go. We call them grab and goes. And that's one of those things you gotta think about. They're already thinking about how to rob you. That's why you gotta, again, make yourself a hard target and think of what I can do to minimize those chances of somebody picking me out of a crowd and say, hey, I'm gonna be the one I'm gonna go steal from that guy or that gal. I have a video clip. This one just happened recently. This man sees this lady, see him, he is stalking her. He knows that she has her purse open and she's walking in the grocery store. She has no idea he's there. And see, tried it. He's gone. That's it. That's all it takes. And he sees her. He knows that she's not even paying attention. She did not look once at him. She did not look back. She didn't even look at her purse. She's so looking at her list and looking at the shelf. So to him, he's like, this is literally easy pickings. So let's see, I think this is the one.
It happens in an instant.
This is the gas station.
In a matter of seconds, police call them sliders for the way these gas station thieves cagily slide between the top of your door, lying in wait for just the right moment to pounce and run off with your valuables. And this morning, police say these types of crimes are on the rise. Watch what happens at this Texas gas station. This car pulls up next to a woman who's pumping gas. She is oblivious to the man next to her. He brazenly slides right into her car, grabbing her purse and running off before she can even blink. She chases after him, but to no avail. From Corbin, Kentucky to Tampa, Florida, these slippery sliders are being caught on camera all across the country. Sometimes the perp is caught red-handed. This man gives chase after witnessing a sliding. But most of the time, the victim has no idea until it's too late.
They're not looking for a confrontation. They just want the property because they know it's being left abandoned and you're not paying enough attention.
At this Houston gas station, a woman pulls up and walks inside as a man in the next vehicle cases the inside of her car, and she returns to the pump. Then the slider strikes, the woman never realizing she's been robbed.
It's very scary that someone could just surprise you and just steal all of your belongings.
It's yours, protect it. And the easiest way to protect it is keep it locked up, keep it with you, and don't leave it in the vehicle unoccupied.
Again, as that officer just said, lock your doors or keep your purse by your side. Don't put it on the pump, don't put it on top of the car. It's just too easy.
And if you notice in all those videos, no, everybody gets complacent in what they do in every day-to-day life. How many times do you go to the gas station a week and you don't even pay attention to what you're doing? I did it last night, and I knew I was doing this today. I left my truck open, went in the gas station, grabbed a drink, and came back out, and I was like, I left my truck unlocked. Which is bad for me because I keep a spare weapon in the car. So, and I did complacency. I go to that gas station, it's right down in my house. I have an automatic key lock, and I always hit my button. I didn't hit my button. And sometimes my button will, because it's technology, it won't send the signal and it'll beep at me that it didn't lock. I'm used to checking that. Last night or yesterday, I did not do that. I came back to my truck, opened the door, I'm like, it was already open. And that's the same way with everything at the gas station. Everybody, they could have avoided all that. They could have, one lady didn't have had her window down, and that would have avoided that. They're all easy targets. They drive by, they see somebody like, okay, they don't have their car locked, they know they're gonna leave it open. It's just an easy way to steal something. And like the officer said in that clip, they don't like confrontation. As soon as they can confront them, because they're cowards. Most thieves are cowards. They just want the easy grab and go. I have one more. This is a pickpocket.
Говорят, мы бяки-буки, как выносит нас земля. Дайте, что ли, карты
She'll have no idea until she goes to buy something.
погадать на короля. Ой-ля-ля, ой-ля-ля, погадай на короля. Ой-ля-ля, ой-ля-ля,
So, do you see how easy that can be? Now, you have to be pretty skilled to do that. I don't think I have the slight enough hand to do that. I'd probably trip and fall on them, and they'd probably know it was me. I'm not a very good thief. That's why I like catching thieves. But that's what I'm saying. They pick out, every one of the videos, they picked out who was the easiest target, who was the easiest one to get, especially the lady in the grocery store with the grocery cart. She didn't, like I said, she did not once look up. Every time I do something, well, it's kind of habit because it's what I do. I always have a habit of looking around what I'm doing. If you always see me in a room, I'm always looking around, and it's habit. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Somebody always budges me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm looking for who's gonna come in that way. I'm like, if they do come in that way, I'm looking out where I can go. And it's just, for me, it's years being military, and that's pretty much I've done half my life is military and law enforcement. So the pickpocketing, like I said, was big in the Dominican when I went down there. My buddy actually came up with a good idea. He said, take pictures with your phone of the front and back of your ID, front and of your passport, of your credit card or debit card, and email it to you. Because that way, if you lose your wallet, he goes, you can just go into your email from anywhere, and you have all the information to report that it's stolen. I go, that's a pretty good idea. I didn't think about that. That's probably why he's the captain of the military. He thinks a lot more than I do. He also made a decoy wallet. He put $5 in a decoy wallet, and he took expired old credit cards and put that in his wallet. So he kept that in his right pocket, and he kept his real wallet in his front pocket. He goes, that way if they steal it, I'm only out $5. Well, and $10 wallet that he paid for at Walmart. And that's his way of thinking outside the box and deterring thieves. And he likes me around because I'm bigger than him, and he thinks that's going to scare him off. So that was always my job, is to protect him. But then there's always stuff that you can do to better your situation. Another bullet that I have is not flashing large amounts of cash and bills. Obviously, that's probably self-explanatory. Somebody sees you pulling out a wad of cash, you are marked. They're gonna mark you. They're gonna either get violent and rob you, or they're just gonna wait for the opportunity to take your cash. Using debit cards and credit cards is a new thing that I did in some of the research I looked at than using cash, because if you lose your credit card to bank or whoever your credit card company has that security issues, that they will protect you and your money. That way you're not carrying around a lot of money, and it's easier, like I said, to detect any fraudulent uses. Which debit cards and credit cards and all that scanning, they're coming up with new ways every day to take your credit card number, your PIN number. It's happened to me twice. I bought something on eBay. No, it wasn't eBay. It was a site like eBay. For somehow somebody picked up my information. I had $300 at Disney and some shoe company and jewelry. Obviously, I don't buy any of that stuff. And the bank called me right away. That's what the good thing is about using debit cards. I have seen a lot lately of people putting scanner strips on like Redbox when you scan your card so they can read your information. I have not seen a lot around St. Louis. I'm not saying it's not there. I personally haven't seen it, and I haven't really heard anything of somebody said they got scammed with the scanner. Now, I haven't seen this around here yet either. I tried to find a clip of it. There's where people will take pickpocket, they'll scan it in the scanner and put it back in their pocket. So they get all that information on that box that they just scanned. That's pretty high tech. A lot of thieves can't afford that. That's why they steal everything you got. But that's just, it's a different, people don't think about that. The more technology evolves, the more thieves get involved. They're not good at technology, but they're good at being thieves. This kind of goes with what I said earlier. Limit your amount of purchases per trip. Obviously, if they know you're fumbling with a bunch of boxes and bags, your guard's going to be down. You're not going to have the time to react if you have a lot of packages and grocery bags with you. I say limit the amount of purchase you have, but if you're like me, you always wait till last minute, and I have to pick up like 20 things at one time. So it's hard for me to do that. But as part of that pre-planning, if you make a plan, I'm going to go buy this from this store, I'm going to buy this from this store, I'm going to buy that from this store. It makes it easier for you to plan your day out, for one, and it makes it easier for if you do buy something big and you don't want to keep it in your car, you plan your day and your trip out where you can make it by your house, drop off the expensive stuff, and then go back out and purchase more stuff. That way, if you do get a victim of a theft or a robbery or stolen vehicle or anything, you're not out everything you just bought. You'll only be out certain things that you bought. It's still kind of bad, but you're not going to be out of everything. With cell phones now, everybody's saying make sure your cell phones are charged, make sure they're working order. If you're like me and you have T-Mobile, it works half the time on main campus, it works half the time in my house, and it works half the time everywhere I go. It could be my phone, it could be me, it could be T-Mobile, I don't know. I know some people, like I had AT&T at first, and I have property down in Potosi. My cell phone carrier would not pick up at my property. No, I had Sprint. I'm sorry, I had Sprint. AT&T did pick up down on my property, so I bought a cheap track phone and put 100 minutes on it, which cost me $20. I left it in my glove compartment. That way, if I got stuck down there, I had a phone that worked. And it didn't really cost me nothing. It was $20 for peace of mind. Basically because sometimes I go out there by myself, just my mom yells at me all the time because I'm out in the middle of nowhere in the woods by myself, and I'm gone for 2 days. And I have no communication with the outside world. But that was and it was for my mom's sake, because she worries about me. It was her peace of mind that I had that phone if something did happen, if I did fall down or whatever. I had a way to contact everybody. In the military, you always set up communications. You always set up your base, communications, and you always secure your weapons. That's basically, we do that. I know me and my buddy, we're military buddies, so every time we go on a trip, that's the first thing we do. We set up comms, we secure weapons, we secure where we're staying, and we secure a backup plan. And I mean, we even registered with the, what am I thinking of? The UN building over in Dominican. That's because we tend to get in trouble sometimes. So we had to make sure we didn't get in trouble. I had to make sure I made it back to the U.S. Because the chief said, actually I probably would have left to stay there because the chief said if I got in trouble, I was going to be in more trouble when I got back. So, this one's kind of a no-brainer, I think. Don't shop at late hours. Obviously, thieves like the cover of night. Parking near light poles. Parking as close as I know it's going to, they always say park as close as you can in the building, but we all know in the holiday season shopping, everybody tries to park as close to the building, and the closest part to the building might be 100 yards from the door. When I park, well, I have a big truck, so it's kind of, nobody parks around me anyway when I park in the parking lot. Always try to park near the well-lit areas. I always look at things. I don't like to park next to bushes. I don't like to park next to trees because I feel somebody's always going to be hiding there waiting for me. That's just, that's one thing I always look at. If somebody can hide there and wait for me I'm never going to see them. So I always avoid parking near fixed structures. So if there's I don't park next to the shopping cart bins. I don't park next to fixed dumpsters and medians. I don't know, that might just be me. I don't do it because again, I think outside the box and I think somebody could hide there or potentially trap me there and I needed my way out. The next thing I have is, I think pretty self-explanatory. Don't leave anything of value out in your car. People always well, I take my GPS and I put it in my glove compartment. Your wires are still hanging there. Everybody knows people take their GPS and put it in their glove compartment. If I see your wires, I know, the thieves know your GPS is somewhere in that car. Same way with MP3 players. Why I unplugged it and put it in my glove compartment. But the wire's still hanging down from the dash. We know you didn't take that. I mean, thieves know that you didn't take that with you. People say, well, I left my purse in there, but I had my wallet with me. Well, you just gave that thief a red flag. Is like, well, there's a person there. They're gonna break your window. They're gonna get in your car, and then once they get in your car, they're gonna take whatever they can find. You gotta hide all that stuff. People don't really realize that though when they take their GPSs down or they unplug their phones, they unplug their MP3 players, whatever they have. They leave the wires in plain sight. No one ever thinks to pull down the mounts or pull the wires down. My GPS, the whole thing comes off and it goes in my center console, wires, mount, everything. Now, if they do break in, they're going to get it, but I lessen the chance of them knowing I already have it to target my vehicle. And that's the same way with having, presence viewed from your home window. I haven't dealt with a lot of holiday thefts from houses, but I mean, I've seen cases of that where they've seen, this family's got a bunch of gifts I can see through their front window. And unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, that's a calling card to a thief. They must have a lot of gifts, they must have a lot of money, they must have a lot of stuff inside their house. Let's target that house. And if somebody does try to target your house, you're always going to see a person that sticks out from your neighborhood that doesn't belong there. Doesn't matter who it is. A vehicle. Somebody's going to, they call what they call casing. And that does happen. If you have vigilant neighbors, if you're vigilant yourself, you'll catch it. I catch stuff. I live on a busy street. I catch stuff all the time. I have rental properties on both sides of me. People come and go. I can pick out who the bad people are, and I can pick out who the good people are. It's just one of those things that's good and bad to have in your life experiences. And that's one of the things that sometimes my friends call me paranoid, like, oh, you're worried too much, you worry too much. I can't help it. It's in my head. I mean, that's the way we were brought up in the military. It's the way we are in law enforcement. We always have to try to be one step ahead of everything. And that's one of the reasons, I like working here at the college. And we we did paint up the cars pretty nice. We did put up new uniforms. I believe presence deters a lot of crime and bad people. If we show that we are, like I said, being a hard target, fortifying our position, showing that we're being aggressive, I think showing the aggression, showing that we have the capability of defending and doing what is necessary will stop a lot of stuff before it even happens. And that's what I like to do. I like to stop stuff before it happens. Because when it happens, it's a lot of paperwork, and I don't like to do all that. But making sure that you're aware of your surroundings and doing what is necessary to prevent all that is, I think, the biggest key in anything. And anything that you want to do, prevention, I think, is the best way. It's the safest way. And just, it's the easiest way to do it. And like I said, being a hard target, portraying yourself as a person that that knows what's going on will stop and deter everything. And you can use that in shopping, traveling, at home. It applies everywhere. And that's basically all I have. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I bought a new pickup truck a couple of years ago, and brand new, and one of the tires had a red dot on it. I stopped to pay a bill somewhere, and the fellow running the little shop said, what's that dot there? I said, that was on there from the time I got the truck. He said, he was hearing that, I don't visit casinos, but he was saying that people would go around the parking lots of casinos and they'd spray a little pink dot on the tires, and I lost track of what good would that do them, because once you drive off, were they gonna follow you or come to your neighborhood and look for red dots on your tires? Have you heard of anything like that?
I have not heard anything like that. And if they were to do that at a casino, that'd be probably one of the worst places you could do it. Casinos are very highly cameraed. They have high security. They've had instances recently with protesters, and they were caught before they even made it to the parking lot. Casinos are probably one of the worst places you want to do crime, and they have an eye everywhere. So if somebody was doing it, they'd pick it up before they're even, if they did one tire, they'd pick it up before they even went on the next victim, if they were marking cars. But I don't know why they would do that, because that'd be kind of hard to follow, especially if you're driving 70, 80 miles an hour down the highway. How are you going to see that one little red dot? I couldn't do it. I have not heard of anything like that. The biggest thing that I've seen lately, and I think it's new to St. Louis, was the slider with the gas station. And that's, like I said, that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't think they were that. I didn't see it around here much, and it came up on one of the police sites that I like or something. It came up on one of the articles, and then I found that video, and I was like, oh, so, yes, ma'am.
You talked about your brush up against the pickpocket. Our daughter, a few years ago, was at Walmart. I don't know if she's looking at movies or CDs or something, but she noticed somebody she thought was following her. So she moved, he moved, she moved again, he moved, and she did what you did. She started following him. She moved to him. So that was that turned out to be a deterrent. But the brush against thing, I have bank clients, and what they're seeing are some low-cost, high-tech means of stealing your ID. They don't even have to get in your purse. Some of these folks can scan your information. If your credit card strips are available magnetically without even touching your stuff.
Really?
It's low cost. And then here's a new thing kind of to be aware of. The person who comes behind you in line, if they've got that information, there's also cheap heat sensing stuff where you enter your PIN number of your debit card on the machine. They have a really quick and easy way to scan that and see what your numbers were on the number keypad. So a tip is to, when you finish your transaction, hit some other numbers before you leave the register.
And I've always been cautious about my PIN number, even in public. I never used the PIN number anymore. I always hit credit, and then it just automatically goes through. If it's under a certain amount, I think it's like under $20 or something like that. And I always sign. For my debit card. Yes, ma'am.
I quit using the debit card because I went to another seminar where this was at a senior place, and they told us not to. And then I went to my bank here in Hillsborough, Bank of Hillsborough, and they have certain states that I cannot use my debit card in. I went to and asked them. I said, they had sent something to me in my statement, so I went to the bank and I said, what is this all about? And she did tell me that one was Florida, most of them were the southern states, and I cannot use my debit card down there. And, but I quit using my debit card because in that. And it was very convenient. And I did go to credit. I did not put my numbers in.
Well,
I went
that's
to
good.
credit. But I just stopped using, and it is convenient, but I've gone to cash.
Yeah, I don't carry much cash on me. I'm a debit card person. I hardly ever. Everybody's like, oh, it's $5. I'm like, I don't have any cash. I got to debit that. Can you just throw something else in there and make it even 10? Because they had a minimum of $10. Yeah, I know. And that's a drawback of that. Everything you have and do always have a good pros and cons, and that's we find that out every day to day. I mean, I still do.
Also, when I went out of the country, which I'm not doing I don't think anymore, I had a thing that around the neck, and you put it down in to carry all your money and your credit cards and that. And that went down in. Are we to the point that we're going to have to do that here in this country?
I hope not. I mean, I have one of those too, but I got one of those from the military because we used to keep our IDs all the time. We used to always keep our cash because during PT sessions, we used to all throw in that little neck wallet.
We were advised, and we go out of our country into,
I mean, New York, I'd probably do something like that because there's a lot of pickpockets. It's all the finding out where you're going. Like, we researched before we went to the Dominican. We knew we were going to Puerto Plata. We looked at the crime statistics. We knew murder was down, luckily. That was good. But the thief thing, the pickpocketing was up 28%. Murders were down 8%. I was like, whew, okay, good. We're good on that. But we realized that. So we started, as soon as we found that out, we started thinking, what can we do to prevent us from being a victim of that and losing everything we have? And that's kind of when everywhere we go, we do the same thing. When we go to North Carolina, when we go to Ireland, when we go to Germany, it's same with, I think it's just because we're ingrained that in the military. When we go overseas, we find intel where we're going. We find as much as we can. We hear information coming back. We look at statistics, and then we make a plan on where we're going and what we do. I think that's just been our whole lives in the military. Is probably what's brought that upon us, and it's good to do that though, because then you're prepared in the situation you're going to. We know exactly where we're going. We knew our routes. We already had our bus routes planned because we had to take a 4-hour bus ride through the country, which was probably a bad idea in the beginning because only saved us $200. But we had our bus routes planned. We had our hotel stays planned, and this is before we even stepped foot in the country. So, I mean, knowing where you're going and what you're doing, and that goes here in the U.S., certain cities have a high theft rate, have high pickpocketing. New York does because there's everybody walking past everybody. I don't like crowds, so I always keep my hand on my wallet every time I'm walking around in a crowd, because that way I know where my wallet's at, and it's a habit. Usually my gun's behind my wallet. That's probably another reason too, but I know if I'm going to get pickpocketed, they're going to have a heck of a way to go. Yes, sir.
One of the things that I started doing several years ago was I quit carrying my wallet in my back pocket, and I would carry it in my front pocket. And I can remember one of my sons was going on a spring break trip down to Mexico, and the last thing I said to him when we got on the plane, make sure you put your wallet in your front pocket. Well, of course he didn't listen. And within 2 hours of his arrival, I got a call that he had been pickpocketed in a bar. Somebody grabbed his wallet from his back pocket. So that's something I think that men can do too.
In that video clip, she had her wallet in her front pocket.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee, and that's why, like I said, I used to carry my wallet in my front pocket, but I have a badge wallet, so my wallet's a little wider now than I'm used to. When I had the little trifold wallet, it was a lot easier to carry in my front pocket. That's why I have a habit of going through crowds. I'm always blading. I'm always got my hand like this because I know, one, like I said, my gun's usually behind my wallet, and my wallet's there, but I'm always protective of that, and you'll see a lot of cops do that. A lot of times I don't carry my wallet unless I need it. Sometimes it's always in my car just because I don't like sitting on it. But when you go shopping in crowds and stuff, I'm always conscious about that. I don't know. I guess I might be paranoid. I don't know. But it's just the way I am. It's just what I've been taught, been trained. When you're trained something for so long, you get used to it. And I don't, like I said, there's a lot of times I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. It's just because I'm reacting and doing it before I even know what I'm doing. So, yes, ma'am.
Oh, so many times on the news you hear about a gunman that comes into a school or a church or a shopping center. What's the best thing to do? Hit the floor or?
Run.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I shouldn't say just run. I should say just run. I should say just run. If somebody comes in with a gun and there's a shooting situation, the best way is to find cover, is to get out of the way, depending on where you're at in the shooting. This could be a whole different class. This could be a whole different thing. There's a lot of things you got to do. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. People panic. You can teach somebody something every day of their life until they actually get faced with the situation. They panic and they're just going to sit there and not know what's going on. I've seen that in soldiers and I've seen that in cops. I've seen that with guys I was on the SWAT team with that didn't make the SWAT team anymore because of situations like that. I've seen guys in the military that been trained like that. If somebody were to come in, heaven forbid, right now, the only way to be out would be through a window. Or since there's really no other way out except through here, if you can't make an exit, your best bet is to try to find cover, which there's not a lot of cover around here. It'd be to try to distract the shooter and throw whatever you can at them. But in a mall situation, if they came in and you have room to run, your best bet is to flee the situation as fast as you can and as safe as you can. There's a lot of, there's actually a class, the run, hide, fight class that a lot of places do, and they teach that. It's more of a survival instinct. It's just how well you can quickly assess the situation and figure out what you need to do. Do I need to run? Do I need to hide? Do I need to fight? And that's going to come down to wherever you're at, whatever situation you're in. It's kind of hard to explain in a few minutes, but I mean, it's an actual class where they teach you how to do stuff. And like I said, we've had soldiers where we trained all day in formations, how to react to firefights. We gave them we had paintball guns for scenarios. As soon as those paintballs started flying at them, they bunched up and went to the ground. If that had been combat, they'd have been all dead. So they had to redo that all over again. And that was one day of training. And we had to do this all week with different people. So your best thing to do in situations like that is to try to get away. If you can't get away, you need to hide. If you can't, you need to put up as much resistance as possible to that shooter. And everybody goes, well, why would you want to fight a guy with a gun? Well, it's better than sitting there and taking it. And there's an exercise they do where they do in this training classes where they give somebody a toy gun and it's got a laser on it. And he's got 5 people in front of him. And he's got to hold that laser on those people while they're throwing objects at him. Well, that guy's natural instinct is a duck. So that laser's going all over that way. So there's a science behind it. There's a reason why they do it. It's not just to say, oh yeah, we're going to fight a guy with a gun. So, but like I said, that's a hard question to ask depending on the scenario and what situation you're in. Yes, ma'am.
Whatever you do at the mall or anywhere else, don't move your car. If you have to put your packages in, you go back in, move your car with the device that will die so that people can't target you.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the trend here in Jefferson County of people just breaking into your cars because they're...
I can't hear you.
What is the trend of people just breaking into your cars here in Jefferson County or just thinking that there's a gun in your car because now that you can carry a concealed weapon?
We've had that, when I worked in Herculaneum, we had a lot of car break-ins, what we call car clottings, and the kids call it car hopping. It's happened a lot in Festus and Herculaneum and Peevely and Crystal City. I'm sure it happens everywhere else in Jefferson County too. It's basically people looking for people that don't lock their doors. They call it car hopping. They would go and they would touch door handles. And they go in there and they would grab whatever was loose. If there was a gun in there, they'd grab the gun. Then we had an incident where people were smashing windows, grabbing what they could, and leaving. As far as people targeting vehicles that have guns in them, I don't know if they specifically target vehicles. I know they have gotten guns because people had left their gun in their car. The only way you could tell if somebody has a weapon in their vehicle is they see them putting it in there, or they know, or they already have knowledge of them having the weapon in the vehicle. I always tell people, don't leave your firearms and your gun in your car overnight. I keep mine in my truck when I'm with my truck, when I'm out day to day, but I don't leave it in there overnight. Just for that simple fact. I mean, I have a car alarm, but it doesn't take long to smash a window, grab something, and go. By the time I hear my alarm and run downstairs, they could be gone off in the woods, and I'm out of gun. I don't know the statistics on that, but I know it has happened in my experience. But none of the vehicles were ever targeted specifically because there was a gun in the vehicle. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I hear it on the morning news all the time that, you know, in St. Louis, where that's specifically why they're breaking it,
That was a group that was doing that. There are times they smash cars just to find certain things, and they're just breaking the cars simply just for looking for guns and nothing else. That's a small group. I haven't seen that anywhere down here. Like I said, it's only been random. Yes, ma'am.
You know, they're saying now with the pepper spray that they're selling out, they can't make it
Mhm.
fast enough. And I was thinking the reverse. You know, you carry it for your protection, but what about the criminal carrying it and immobilizing the victim?
Well, if they use it on me, it'd be a world of hurt, I'll tell you. We get trained with pepper spray. I've been sprayed with it. That's why you have to get certified in the police academy. You have to get sprayed with pepper spray. It hurts. I've sprayed myself accidentally. It was to prove a point. There was a point in that. I don't know what the point was at the time, but there was a point in that. It will blind you temporarily, but I've trained myself enough where I believe, hopefully I believe, that I'd be able to, at least if somebody used it against me, I would be able to draw my weapon and defend myself.
What about
Normal citizen, it's gonna be hard. I don't suggest you spraying yourself and get used to it, but it's just that's anything though. If somebody would confront you with a gun, I mean, it's the same situation. But if somebody would do that to us, as trained professionals, we have somewhat of a will to combat that, hopefully. I've been pepper sprayed, I've been gassed. I mean, it's not fun. But you get used to it. You don't really get used to the pepper spray, but you learn how to deal with it and overcome it. And that's just one of those things you gotta.
Do you recommend it for an old woman?
Pepper spray is a good personal defense weapon. However, there's a lot of drawbacks to pepper spray, depending if it's a windy day, because you'll pepper spray yourself. If you pepper spray inside of a closed space, you contaminate everybody. But it is a good personal defense weapon. People think, oh, I can just buy a can of pepper spray, spray somebody bad, and it's all good. It is until you get blowback from the wind, or you spray it inside of a vehicle or any enclosed area, because it does smell, it does tear up, it does make you snotty, it does hurt. And it will get into your pores. And it's painful. So.
What if you're driving and you think you're being followed and you're not in an urban area or a populated area, and you're not close to a police station or anything like that? Apart from identifying the vehicle, what do you do?
Keep driving until you can find a safe spot. I mean, it's really the only thing you can do. Try to maybe lose them a little bit. I mean, not drive crazy and lose them, but like try to like take another side road or something. I mean, it's if you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's gonna be kind of hard to do. So, sir, do you have a question?
Yeah, is there anything at all that you can do to make yourself a little less likely to be a victim of a knockout game?
Victim of a what?
Victim of the knockout game?
No, I mean, that's so random. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even pick out the victims in the videos when I watched them. A lot of it's.
It seems like it's always a single victim walking
It is.
If there's more than one person present, that'd be a little bit of a deterrent.
And it's probably, if you're groups, it'd be a buddy system thing. It'd be, you'd be less of a target. I think they pick on weaker individuals. Like they try to see somebody that if they do not knock them out, but they might have a fight in their hands. They don't want that. It's just one of those things. I mean, that's kind of hard because it's so random. It's like a drive-by shooting. It's so random. It's kind of hard to detect. Only thing I'd say is, it's one of those things about being vigilant of your surroundings. And the thing we have in law enforcement, if the hair in the back of your neck starts to rise up, something's wrong. And that's, if you feel that out in public, it's the same way. It's just kind of hard to pick that out.
Well, we've run over time, so let's thank Beau for his presentation.
Thank you.